This evening, first, a sharp clash in Parliament over the deadly GDF helicopter crash, as Deodat Indar rejects opposition demands to release the investigation report, citing national security. Plus, the Guyana Defence Force outlines major investments in training and readiness, as more than 1,000 ranks are prepared for future challenges. Also, a major drug blow in the Upper Demerara River. Police destroyed tens of thousands of cannabis plants worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, 3 men are arrested on the Essequibo Coast after a routine stop uncovers more than 3 pounds of suspected cocaine. And in the region, Cuba's President Miguel Díaz-Canel warns that fuel shortages and blackouts are biting hard as Havana looks to renewable energy for relief. These stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for February 6, 2026. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation Deodat Indar has rejected claims by opposition Member of Parliament Amanza Walton Desir that Guyana is obligated under international law to release the report on the deadly Guyana Defence Force helicopter crash that killed 5 service members. Speaking during Thursday's budget debate, Minister Indar said Walton Desir was woefully incorrect, explaining that the flight was military, not civilian, and therefore the report is exempted from public disclosure under Annex 13 of the International Civil Aviation Organization and the Chicago Convention.
When you have a flight that is controlled by the Army or the state, it is governed by the Chicago Convention. It is governed by the Chicago Convention, and it says, and I read, aircraft used in military, customs, and police services shall be deemed state aircraft. And because of this, which country that has military operation disclose to the public about when you have incidents or accidents? Find the country. It is a military operation within the virtue of the National Security Board.
Minister Indar said that aircrafts used by military, customs, and police services shall be deemed state aircraft, adding that releasing such reports would compromise national security.
The article that governs this is the Chicago Convention. And I'm saying to you that it's placed the operation in a military setting, and because of that, it is a national security issue.
However, opposition Member of Parliament challenged this stance, citing previous commitments from Minister of Public Works Bishop on Edgehill, who was previously tasked with control of the aviation sector at the time of the crash. He had committed to the publication of the report, and Vice President Barjaglio, who had assured that the report will be made public following its completion and review of stakeholder comments. The crash occurred on December 8, 2023 in Region 7, killing 5 of 7 personnel aboard a Bell 412 helicopter. Member of Parliament Walton Desir reiterated that technical findings should be released, with sensitive sections redacted to ensure transparency, accountability, and closure for families. The debate highlights a delicate balance between safeguarding national security and ensuring transparency, leaving families and the public waiting for answers while the government maintains that the report remains off limits. In other news, more than 1,200 members of the Guyana Defence Force received specialized training in 2025, highlighting the military's push to strengthen operational readiness and adaptability and professionalism. Chief of Defence Staff Brigadier Omar Khan disclosed on Thursday at the opening of the GDF's annual Officers Conference for 2026.
The force continues to advance its resource optimization and internal efficiency measures, while making deliberate and measured investments in capability development. At the same time, we sustain initiatives aimed at improving the quality of life of our rank and file, recognizing that morale, welfare, and operational effectiveness are inseparable and fundamental to readiness. This continues to be a key and constant focus across the force. And this is why also heavy emphasis remains on training.
Brigadier Khan said the training covered military, technical, academic, and leadership disciplines to better prepare the force for present and future challenges. Khan noted that beyond training, the Guyana Defence Force played a key role in safeguarding Guyana's territorial integrity and supporting national security operations, including joint efforts with the Guyana Police Force during the 2025 elections, which were described as the safest since independence.
For 2025, the force stayed resolute in maintaining Guyana's territorial integrity, sustaining operational readiness, and conducting continuous activities to deter threats and protect our patrimony. Punctuated within this defense posture, I need to say, was the critical role we played in supporting the Guyana Police Force in creating the safest and most secure environment since our independence for the conduct of Guyana's national and regional elections held in September 2025.
The Chief of Defense Staff also pointed to the GDF's growing involvement in national development through infrastructure, support, emergency response, and hinterland connectivity. Regionally, GDF personnel participated in humanitarian and disaster relief missions across the Caribbean. Brigadier Khan said these initiatives mark a significant step in transforming the Guyana Defence Force into a modern professional institution, better equipped to safeguard national security while contributing meaningfully to Guyana's development and regional resilience. The conference is being held under the theme Transforming the Force to Better Confront the nation's present and future challenges. Moving on, police have dealt a major blow to illegal drug operations in the Upper Demerara River, destroying over 53,000 cannabis plants and 800 pounds of dried marijuana during a large-scale eradication exercise at Uruni Blend. Ranks of the Guyana Police Force carried out the joint cannabis eradication on Thursday between 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. During the operation, officers discovered 2 cannabis farms spanning approximately 8 acres. On the farms, police seized an estimated 53,000 suspected cannabis plants, ranging from 2 to 6 feet in height. Further inspections uncovered 2 makeshift camps and 5 drying areas containing roughly 800 pounds of dried cannabis. All suspected cannabis plants, dry narcotics, makeshift camp, and drying areas were destroyed by fire on site. No arrests were made, and the operation was completed without incident. Authorities estimated the street value of the seized and destroyed narcotics at approximately $344 million, with the live plants valued at $18 million and the dried cannabis at $326 million. The police said investigations are ongoing to determine those responsible for the cultivation and processing of the narcotics. The exercise underscores the force's continued commitment to combating illegal drug cultivation and trafficking in the Upper Demerara region. Stick around when we return. 3 arrested after suspected cocaine found during Saudi stop and search. And police investigate incident involving 14-year-old student found unconscious in Sophia.
Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I
want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Police are investigating an incident involving a 14-year-old female student from the east bank of the Demerara who was found unconscious and later hospitalized on Wednesday evening, February 4th. Preliminary investigations revealed that the teenager was reportedly transported in an unconscious state by other juveniles to a residence in Sophia around 6 p.m. She was subsequently taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where she received medical attention. Hospital officials confirmed that the student is now conscious and listed in stable condition. Initial inquiries indicate that the teen was in the company of the juveniles prior to losing consciousness. Allegations have also surfaced that alcohol may have been consumed during that time. Police said no arrests have been made so far, but several individuals have been interviewed as part of the ongoing investigation. Authorities are actively working to locate 3 juveniles who were reportedly present during the incident. Investigators are also continuing to gather evidence to determine the circumstances surrounding the teenager's condition. Police have assured the public that all efforts are being made to ensure the safety of the minors involved while the investigation proceeds. In other news, a routine police operation along the Essequibo Coast resulted in the arrest of 3 men after suspected cocaine was discovered during a stop-and-search exercise at Saudi. Police in Regional Division 2 said the discovery was made on Thursday around 5 p.m. during an operation along the Saudi public road. Ranks stopped a motor car occupied by 3 males and conducted a search of the vehicle. During the search, police found a multicolored haversack on the back seat containing 2 black plastic bags with several whitish rock-like substances suspected to be cocaine. The occupants, a 29-year-old taxi driver of Spring Gardens, Essequibo Coast, 45-year-old Mason of Betterforwacton, East Coast Demerara, and a 34-year-old fisherman of Good Hope, East Coast Demerara, were all arrested and escorted to the Saudi police station, along with the suspected narcotics. The substance was later weighed in the presence of the suspects and amounted to 1,539 grams, or just over 3 pounds. The suspected cocaine was subsequently lodged as evidence. The 3 men remain in custody as investigations into the circumstances surrounding the discovery continues. Police say they remain committed to eliminating illegal drugs from communities as ranks continue intensified operations aimed at disrupting traffic networks and safeguarding public safety. Don't go away after the break. Winter Olympics, U.S. team braces for booze and U.S.-Iran meeting in Oman. Both sides bluster military assets as talk begins.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, the US backs Haiti's Prime Minister as Transitional Council's mandate ends, pledging security support. Cuba warns fuel shortages are deepening. Iran and the US hold talks after recent strikes, and the Winter Olympics officially gets underway. We begin in Haiti. The United States has voiced strong backings for Haitian Prime Minister Alex Didier-Fitsemi as the mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council expires on February 7. Washington reaffirmed support for his leadership and confirmed the deployment of U.S. naval assets to Port-au-Prince. Regional partners, including OAS and CARICOM, also pledged continued support for Haiti's transition, security efforts, and the planned gang suppression force ahead of elections. Cuba's President Miguel Díaz-Canel, in a rare press conference, said a U.S. fuel blockade, blackouts, and shortages are taking a toll, outlining plans to expand solar power and boost heavy oil and gas. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Cuba's President Miguel Díaz-Canel has rarely given news conferences, but then these are no ordinary times. He recognizes that Cuba is under a U.S. fuel blockade and that rolling blackouts, shortages of food and fuel are taking a heavy toll on the people.
This is asphyxia. They're trying to asphyxiate us completely, and to prevent them from doing so, we have a strategy. We have a program that we have devised.
Díaz-Canel spoke at length of plans to reorganize and reform Cuba's already scarce fuel capacity by increasing alternative energy sources like solar plants, as well as its own heavy oil and gas industry. But in the wake of the U.S. attack on Venezuela last month, he said there's an even more urgent priority.
It is our sovereign duty, in the face of danger of aggression, to prepare for defense. One of the priorities we established is to deploy a defense readiness plan. This includes the preparation of the entire territorial defense system of our country at all its levels.
For more than 6 decades, Cubans have lived under U.S. economic and financial sanctions, and they've suffered acute economic crises, like the current one. But Díaz-Canel insists Cuba will resist any U.S. attempt to negotiate regime change.
Cuba is willing to engage in dialogue with the United States. Dialogue on any topic that one wishes to debate or discuss, but without pressures, preconditions, or coercion. A dialogue like that could build a civilized relationship between neighbors.
Hello, everybody.
The White House responded quickly.
The president is always willing to engage in diplomacy, and I believe that's something that is taking place, in fact, with the Cuban government.
Recognizing that Cubans are worried about how to survive, he assured them that Cuba is not alone, suggesting, without naming names, that there are countries willing to defy the U.S. oil blockade and come to his country's aid. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.
Talks between Iran and the United States in Oman follow strikes on nuclear facility and a U.S. military buildup. Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem reports.
The talks between Iran and the U.S. in Oman are happening against a very different backdrop. It's diplomacy after war and after weeks of renewed military pressure. Since early last month, the United States has carried out a significant military buildup in the region. Aircraft carriers, long-range bombers, missile defenses, and additional forces have moved closer to Iran. President Donald Trump has paired that build-up with explicit threats of military action and with public promises to support Iranian protests, which led to unrest that killed thousands, according to official figures. The pressure has been deliberate and visible. This pressure didn't emerge in a vacuum. It followed a series of interrupted or failed diplomatic tracks. The reference point remains the historic nuclear agreement signed in 2015. But Trump left the deal in 2018 and efforts to revive it have failed. In 2021 and 22, talks in Vienna aimed to restore the nuclear deal. They stalled, then collapsed. Last year, a narrower channel reopened in Oman, designed to be fruitful and controlled, but it did not reach an outcome. That effort was interrupted by Israel's attacks on Iran, which marked a turning point. In its final phase, the United States joined the campaign attacking Iranian nuclear facilities at Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan. For Tehran, a red line was crossed, yet with huge losses. For Washington, it was meant to reset deterrence. The immediate result is a new nuclear reality. Iran's uranium enrichment is now effectively halted after the strikes, facilities damaged, operations disrupted, but the nuclear issue itself remains unresolved. So what is at stake now? The United States wants Iran to permanently stop uranium enrichment, to hand over roughly 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, to limit its ballistic missile program, and to stop funding and supporting armed groups in the region. This is not just about nuclear activity, it's about Iran's regional standing. Iran's position is narrower. Tehran says it will talk about the nuclear file only, nothing else. Missiles are off the table. Regional alliances are off the table. From Iran's perspective, widening the agenda turns negotiations into capitulation. Iran's aim has always been lifting the sanctions, but now another priority is preventing the war. The threat of war remains explicit. Iran's supreme leader has warned that any US attack would trigger a regional war. This is the balance now. It may not look equal, but both sides believe they hold leverage. Washington believes pressure can force concessions. Tehran believes escalation would engulf the region. Now that it's happening, these talks are not about trust but about limits. And the main question remains how far pressure can go and how much escalation diplomacy can absorb. Ali Hashim, Al Jazeera, Tehran.
The 25th Winter Olympics officially gets underway with the opening ceremony today. But Team America is bracing for a potential chilly reception. Al Jazeera David Stokes reports.
Democrat, Republican, Independent, we're all rooting for you.
US Vice President J.D. Vance doing his bit for the team on the eve of the Winter Olympics, where he's set to attend the opening ceremony. But there are fears the US team could be booed by the crowd in Milan because of the Trump administration's policies. There have already been protests in Italy against the US sending ICE immigration agents to help with security at the Games, and more demonstrations are planned.
I hope that the opening ceremony is seen by everyone of an opportunity to be respectful towards each other.
There's criticism from within the US team. Skier Lindsey Vonn is one of the biggest stars at the Games. She grew up in Minnesota, where 2 US citizens were killed last month during the immigration crackdown.
My heart is incredibly heavy, and I think the best thing I can do is to do exactly what I said, stand tall and have hope and show the world what America is, who we are as people, because we are more than what's happening right now.
The US-Canada rivalry is always a big talking point at the Winter Olympics, but there's a little more heat this year.
Tensions globally are high, and our sporting rivalry with our neighbor to the south is at a fever pitch. Attention and expectations will be higher than ever, and like everyone on the stage here in front of you today, I'm confident that Team Canada is poised to deliver.
Sarah and Andrew McGuinness have travelled with their 7-month-old baby Marjorie to support Canada's bid for ice hockey gold.
I love the Olympics because it feels like the whole world kind of gets to come together and right?
We all kind of come together and compete together, and you know, there's gold and silver and bronze, but at the end of the day it's the whole world that's here, and that's what we love.
Nearly 2 million fans are expected to attend the Games in Milan and Cortina, with organisers hoping it's the sport, not the politics, that takes centre stage over the next 2 weeks. David Stokes, Al Jazeera.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day event forecast. And that's it with Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube, where we'll be out for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.